There's been some technical difficulties reaching Dr. Andrew at the Poznan Zoo, but right now we are, this is how you and I talk all the time anyways, Dr. Andrew, so this is fine.
That's our new normal.
It is our new normal. I first am just going to kind of recap a few things that we had talked about in the earlier live post that you didn't hear, and then really we want to hear about you and what your life has been like for the cubs and being in Ukraine and doing animal rescue. So I first was kind of sharing with everybody that it takes a village to rescue animals, and in this case it takes a pride, and that is everybody from who surrendered the cubs to the caregivers, to the way station rescue groups that temporarily house them, to transporting them, to you who's been caregiving, to the Poznan Zoo who's temporary housing, to ifaw who is supporting transport and logistics and everything, and to the sanctuaries that are, it's a lot. And then as much as we're excited about the animals potentially coming to the Wildcat Sanctuary, this international rescue is a process and is never guaranteed. Things can change. I think the one guarantee is that all of us will make sure these animals have a good home, but right now the permits have not been issued to the United States. We need to wait for that to be processed and then all the required permits to be processed to guarantee that they're coming to the sanctuary. But our goal between ifaw and the Wildcat Sanctuary and everybody involved is that we would be their forever home, but we want to let people know that there is a lot going on to make that happen. So first let me introduce you. This is Dr. Andrew Kushnir, who's been, from what I've been told, on the front lines with these cubs since day one. So Andrew, tell me, how did you end up helping in Ukraine?
Yeah, so to add on to something you said earlier, the other guarantee that these cubs have right now is that they're safe. They're out of Ukraine, they're out of the war zone, and they're in beautiful hands here at the Poznan Zoo. So that's another guarantee that they have, which is great and excellent. So I guess my journey in Ukraine really starts with my father. My father was born in Ukraine, and at the start of the war, I was, along with so many others, any way that we could to help Ukraine and Ukrainians. I knew that as a veterinarian, I had the ability to not just help animals, but help people through animals. And that's how I found ifaw. Those early days of the war, I reached out to so many organizations, just desperate to help, and ifaw got back to me. And I think once we connected, a few days later, I took a plane to Poland, and I was on the Polish-Ukrainian border, helping refugees with their animals with ifaw for several months until that tent closed. Then I went in proper around May and June to see if I could help there, where I could help, how I could help. Then I went home. I finally went back home to San Diego for about 2 months. I returned to Ukraine in the middle of August to Odessa to help whoever and however I could there.
Awesome. Well, in Odessa is where the first 3 cubs rescue came to be. Can you tell us a little bit about how they were surrendered and their story?
Sure. So actually behind me are the 3 cubs.
Okay, I don't see anybody.
Let's see, hold on. I had you on a tripod, so I'm going to attempt to shift.
Oh, there I see a little body. Oh.
Yeah. So they're in this awesome room. This is in the quarantine building here at the Poznan Zoo. It's totally off limits to the general public, and the cubs have plenty of space and plenty of toys and enrichment for them.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh.
Yeah. Got to get them back here. This is all new technologies for me. So. Yeah, so these 3 cubs were being trafficked on the black market, and I think it was at the end of August that there were a couple of really high-profile arrests made in Ukraine. Some major players in the black market animal trade. So the person who was selling these 3 cubs got scared, got spooked, and through very, very convoluted means, these cubs ended up in Odessa at the train station. they've been transported in a cardboard box, zipped inside of a duffel bag, and we don't know who the person was. We don't know where they. I'm sure we don't know how long the cubs were on that train. But you know, when they arrived in Odessa, they were quiet. They were so young. I mean, their baby teeth hadn't even erupted yet. They were a little bit thin and a little bit dehydrated, but overall they were in good health.
Oh God, that's so amazing that they've ended up where they are now from where they started. That's a happy ending already, and we're not even done with their journey.
Absolutely. Every leg of their journey has been really difficult to get through, but every step has been a victory.
Oh, awesome. Well, I know then the big wait was how do we get them out of Odessa, where we'll have to spend some time with the Cubs,
Yes.
to Kyiv, because they first had to go from Odessa to Kyiv, which is another way station you can talk about, before they could get to Poznan Zoo. So tell me what life was like in Kyiv, and what your days were like, and what it's like when there's shelling going on and war and things like that.
Yeah, so after several weeks of, coordinating the logistics and transport for these cubs to eventually get out of Ukraine, the cubs made it to Kyiv. We went to Kyiv. It was essentially, that was a lily pad for us, because we were linking up with Natalia Popova and her wild animal rescue center there, and we were essentially hitching a ride with her and 4 adult lions, an Asiatic black bear, an additional lion cub, and a leopard cub, who were all coming to
and the humans.
A lot.
I mean, I look at what you've been through, what Natalia has been through at Wild Animal Rescue. I mean, I remember talking to you and you said there's no heat. You're all just like you said, trying to stay warm together, going across borders to get generators. And that's just, I mean, I know how hard it is to care for animals at a sanctuary, or let me see the baby. Oh, look at who came to see you. Now, let's take a break because we need, after what you just told us and how heartbreaking that is, we need a little bit of happy ending. Can you tell us, like, is that the boy coming up to see you, or is it hard to tell, or do you know them all apart right now?
Oh, I know them very, very well, yeah. Spent a lot of quality time with these cubs last couple months, so yeah, okay, it's hard for me to point out now because they're all on their bed there. Let me see, let me try that. There we go. Yeah. Actually, maybe I'll take it. I have you on a stand right now.
Yeah, we're informal here. This is, we know.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So this little lady coming up to the window, that is Stephania. She's the biggest of the two females. She's absolutely a jumper. She loves climbing all over me. She's very independent. She likes long walks on the beach.
She's got a
good. On the bed here, the lion cub whose arms are over the bed, that's Taras, that's the male. He's the chief, he's the bravest. He's usually always the first to approach. Yep, here he is. It's us. And then being shy little lady that she is, that's Alessia back there. She's still in the bed.
What's it been like? I mean, what's your days like? I mean, most, we've raised cubs here at the sanctuary from 3 hours old from rescues, but 3 at a time is a lot. Tell us what your days and nights have been like.
Holy cow, yes, 3 cubs is a lot. It's a lot. And it's only gotten more, not difficult, but more complicated since being here at Posen Zoo, because not only am I still taking care of the 3 cubs, but there's also a 4th lion cub who it's at some point will hopefully join this pride of lions, and they'll be the Ukrainian lion pride. Yep. There's also a leopard cub that's also here at the Posen Zoo. Both the additional lion cub and the leopard cub, they were at Natalia's facility. They were also being trafficked on the black market. They arrived at Natalia's very early in life, at about the same age as these cubs. And they've actually, the lion cub and the leopard cub have been together growing up for the last 4 or 5 months. So they're actually quarantining together, which is nice because it's good to have companionship for them at this time of their lives.
Yeah, and I know it's a 30-day quarantine minimum in Poland. And then also I know there's been questions of why would we separate a leopard and lion? Well, I mean, doing this, they can't grow up together. That's going to become dangerous. Their personalities and characteristics of their species are very different, but it is lovely that they can have each other now as young offspring. So,
Definitely. Especially for the lion cub, it's important because lions are very social animals.
Yeah.
So, it's great that the lion had the leopard when she did the last few months.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the Posen Zoo and the important role they're playing in getting animals out of Ukraine into safe sanctuary across the world.
Sure. I cannot say enough good things about Posen Zoo. I mean, this is just a fantastic facility made up of incredible people. The mission, not only is the aesthetics of the zoo incredible, I mean, we're in a forest here, really large enclosures for the animals, but also the mission of the zoo of actually having animals who were rescued from zoos or bad situations, confiscated animals, utilizing the space that they have here for
so thankful for what they're doing. It's just, it's amazing. You know, they just make us smile. I mean, when you look at, you know, the wonderful thing is the animals you've rescued have no idea what has been going on around them. And that is a godsend to everybody that's been involved, that they don't know there's a war. They don't know. But look at, yeah. But so here's the thing is, you know, there's so many photos of you, you know, interacting with them because they were babies and they needed a surrogate parent. But talk to me about why they shouldn't be trafficked as pets, and you know that there's a reason not to do free contact once they become adult lions.
Sure. Yeah. So I think there's many reasons why these animals, one, don't make good pets, and two, should not be trafficked. It is illegal, and generally when things are illegal, the means with which these animals come about, the way that they're bred, the way that they're sold and traded, generally tends to be very sketchy, which can lead to dangerous situations just for the animals, but also for people involved. Two, I mean, these are lions. Like, yes, they're extremely cute and sweet at this age, but they're not going to stay this size, you know, forever. And even when they're 6 months old, a year old, they're going to be huge. And even if they're going to want to play, you know, their claws are really sharp, can be really damaging. Their teeth, you know, can cause so much damage. I can't show you right now, but you know, I wear a sweatshirt when I go in with them. I wear gloves. I still have some scars on my hands from just bottle feeding them. But I have cuts all over me, and these are just from, you know, 10-week-old cubs. And I know what happens in the black market trade is that folks who have these animals, they'll sometimes elect to do these declawing procedures where they literally remove the last phalanx of each digit. So they remove all the nails. That way the animal can't scratch. But what that causes is the animal to no longer be able to climb, because they need those nails to climb up structures. And they also walk inappropriately because you removed that last phalanx, that last digit or the last part of their digits, which leads to long-term issues, arthritis, inappropriate gaits, infection if the surgeries are done inappropriately. Or people just put them in a small enclosure and they just show them off, you know, to their friends or to social media. You know, hey, I have a lion. Oh, I'm so cool. Wow, this lion lives in a tiny little enclosure and has a really poor quality of life. In the extreme cases, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, once these animals, especially lions and tigers, are too big to be handleable, too big to profit off of, they are killed.
Yeah. I mean, we have.
Bred first, and then they're killed.
It's sad that we have the captive wildlife crisis and the big cat crisis not only in the U.S. but in countries around the world. So, how much larger is the fourth lion cub than these three?
She's quite large. Yeah, she's a beautiful lioness. We're guessing that she's about 2 months older than these cubs. And I weighed them yesterday, and the little cubs weigh an average of about 8.5 to 9 kilograms. And the big mama Prada, she weighs about 20 grams. So she's twice the size. Yeah, but it's funny that she's actually easier to handle and to work with than the little ones. The little ones just will not stop, clawing and fighting, because they're interested. I thought Prada, the older cub, she plays as well, and she wants to play because she's a social creature, but she's a little bit more predictable.
That's awesome. Andrew, is there anything else, Dr. Andrew, that you'd like to share with us and with the world watching?
No pressure. Yeah, it's been incredibly surreal. Finally making your full on with these cubs. It's been such a long journey. I mean, there were many days and nights when I wasn't sure if I was going to get them out of Odessa, and I had gone to Ukraine with the intention of only staying for 3 weeks. Then these lions came, and
amazing. Well, and I know, yeah, and I look at even when Natalia and all of you came to Poland and dropped off that load of animals and then went back, she got news there was more shelling and didn't know what damage she was going home to. So every day's unknown, and I'm just so thankful for all of you fighting on the ground. And I'm so thankful for all of your updates. We feel like we know these cubs, and I know the one question is if they do make their way here to the U.S., as we're hopeful, are you going to be coming with them, and are you going to be staying in touch with us here at the Wildcat Sanctuary?
100% for both. 100% for both. Yeah. I've come too far with these cubs not to see them, reach their final destination. And even since day one, before these cubs even arrived in Odessa, I reached out to ifaw to ask them, please, can you help me get these cubs out of Ukraine? And please, can we make sure that they go to the best place possible for them? And that's how I met you, Tammy, and Wildcat Sanctuary. So 100% I'm seeing this through.
Awesome.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to stay in Poland until that time, but I'll definitely be coming back for the transport. And yeah, so you'll be seeing quite a lot of me in Minnesota. I've been wanting to explore more of Minnesota, so it's a perfect reason to go.
Well, you are always welcome. We've extended that offer to every people that have been part of their and other animals rescue. We're doing such a small part. Yes, we're helping 4, but you guys are on the ground helping more and more. And we will.
There's a lot of work. I mean, for their whole lives. Yes, Bethany is ready.
And you're going to have to teach us Minnesotans with our accents to pronounce their names and all the names appropriately. So there'll be some lessons. Okay, let me try this. Taras? How do you say it? Taras? My husband has been, because if I would have just looked at a paper, I'd be like, Taras. And he's like, no, that's not how it's pronounced. So,
you really roll the R.
Taras. So I'm working on it. I just can't thank you enough. All the people that we've met through you and ifaw and everybody has been just amazing. And I hope this is just the first adventure and journey of many animals that ifaw will help. We've also offered more placement for adults or other animals needed. I know the other sanctuaries in the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance here in the U.S. offer placement too. It's just it's a process, like we said. Is there's permits that have to be secured, and there's every day is different, because what I've told our donors is Ukraine has a lot more to focus on than issuing paperwork always for rescue.
So, the office for the permitting process is in Kiev, and for the last few weeks, there's been intermittent power loss in the capital city. So it absolutely is a process, and it's taken an international village to get these cubs here to Poland, and I trust that we'll eventually get them to where they need to go.
Well, that's a wonderful way to end our live post. I just want to let everybody know, if they want to help not only the cubs you see here, but all the cubs and all the big cats and all the animals, please follow all of our groups on social media. That is, ifaw, International Fund for Animal Welfare. Dr. Andrew is the Nomad Vet on Instagram. We have Poznan Zoo on Facebook and Instagram, the Wildcat Sanctuary on Facebook and Instagram, and I know Wild Animal Rescue out of Ukraine is also on social media. So there's so many great groups to follow, and there's more and more than I can list that have been involved. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you for sharing such a happy moment, and I look forward to meeting you in person and no longer on the phone.
It'll be good. The first time we ever met and spoke, I was in Kiev. I had no power, I had no electricity, no water, but amazingly I had 3G Wi-Fi.
You had better Wi-Fi than we do here in Minnesota at the sanctuary.
Maybe.
We'll continue to be in touch, and again, I thank you and ifaw for all the work and partnership to hopefully aiming at bringing these cubs to the Wildcat Sanctuary. So, love to all of you in Poland and Ukraine.
Yeah, to you as well. I hope to see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.